Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. In this video I'd like to show you part 11 of Charlotte's Universe. Charlotte's Universe has been designed by Deirdre Ouse from Look at What I Made. The link to the pattern is in the video description. In part 11 we're going to be doing this part of the blanket. So it's another pretty edge, and then we're going to start a repetition of what we've done previously. So we're going to be making these beautiful jasmine flowers. So we're going to be doing those in this part, and it's a repetition of certain rows we've done before, and I'll be showing you that video footage. So I'll be just taking back to earlier parts on the blanket, because you can see these flowers. You'll have them, where are they? Here they'll have the same pattern. So this pattern we're going to be repeating here as well. The yarn that I'm using for my blanket is Crochet stonewashed yarn in various colors. Which color I'm using for which round, the link is also on my blog, and that's also in the video description. So I'll take you step by step through the rounds that make up part 11. Let's get started. Round 97. This is a continuation from part 10. So I've still got my yarn attached at the end of part 10. I'm going to continue with the same color. I'm just going to slip stitch to the chain 2 corner space. So slip stitch in the next double crochet, and then a slip stitch into the corner space. Next is the corner, 2 doubles, chain 2 and 2 doubles. Now the first double is a chain 3 followed by a second double crochet, chain 2 and 2 more doubles, 1 and 2. That's your first corner. This round is a round of double crochets, with the exception we're skipping the first stitch. So skip the first stitch, that's that one, and then come to the second and work a double in there. So skipping that first stitch there, come to the second, and then work a double crochet on every stitch. When you're to the other side, work the corner again. So 2 doubles, chain 2 and 2 doubles, and repeat. So go all the way around, corners, double, chain 2, 2 doubles, skip that first stitch, that's important, and for the rest it's a double crochet on every stitch. When you're all the way around, close with a slip stitch on your first stitch, and you can also fasten off. Round 98. This round is actually exactly the same as the previous round. Going to work 2 doubles in the chain 2 and 2 doubles in the corner, and the first is of course a standing double, followed by a second, chain 2 and 2 more. I've got 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles in the corner. This straight edge, we skip the first stitch, so that's this stitch, then come to the second and work a double crochet on every stitch and go all the way around. So again, a very relaxing round, a lot of stitches, really a lot of stitches, but continue like this, a double on every stitch, corner is 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles, and remember to skip that first stitch. When you get back to the beginning, close here with a slip stitch, and you can also fasten off. Round 99, again a very relaxed round, not a lot of stitch patterns. Going to start the round in the corner, any corner, with 2 doubles, chain 2 and 2 doubles. So the first is of course a standing double crochet, a second double, chain 2 and 2 more doubles. You've done this many times before. There we go. And then on the straight edge is a back post double crochet on every stitch. So yarn over, especially around that first one. Just grab the back post stitch. This one, and continue. Work a back post double on every stitch. So this is a time consuming round, because you've got, well, 900 stitches or so to go. So back post double on every stitch. That'll again give you this nice little edge. And in the corner it's 2 doubles, chain 2 and 2 doubles. Go all the way around, and when you're back to the first stitch, close on that stitch with a slip stitch. Round 100, you see here round 100 already completed. And what I'm going to do is round 100 is exactly the same as round 40. It's a repeat of round 40. I'm going to show you the video footage that I have from round 40. The only difference is you're going to be using more repeats. So round 40 had 11 repeats and now you'll have 29. That's the only difference. If you're starting with a new color, start with a standing double crochet in the corner. If you're using the same color, slip stitch to the corner and do a chain 3 as your first double. And for the rest, it's a repeat of round 40 that I'll be editing into the video. Round 40, I'm going to continue with the same color yarn. I'm currently in this first standing stitch from round 39. We're going to start by just moving to the chain 2 corner space. So we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch and slip stitch into the chain space. There you go. Now we're ready to really start the round. I'm going to work the first corner. I'm going to start with a chain 3. That's your first double, and then another double crochet in the corner. That's basically 2 doubles. Then we work chain 2 and 2 more doubles. 1 and another one, which is 2. So that's your first corner made. We're going to work along the edge a small little unit that we're going to be repeating a few times. Going to start the first repeat. Here in the very first stitch, again just move it to the side to see that stitch. Work a double crochet. So you're immediately going to start the repeat. This is the double crochet. 1 double. We're going to skip the next stitch and then come to the stitch after. And in this one stitch we're going to work 3 stitches. So skip the 1 stitch, and then at the second stitch work a double crochet, a half double in the same position, and a single crochet in the same position. We're now going to skip 2 stitches. So that's 1, 2 stitches skip, and then here in the third stitch we're going to do the same as what we just did, but in reverse order. So 1, 2 skip, come to the third, here work a single crochet, a half double in that same position, and a double crochet in that same position. So this kind of brings these stitches a little bit together. You see there, here they kind of dip together. Then we're going to skip 1 stitch. Really remember to skip this stitch because this one's insanely easy to forget. And then come to the second stitch and work 1 double. And this here is the full repeat. So we're going to do this, we're going to make a few more sets, 11 more sets we're going to be making. I'll show you the repeat again. So in the next stitch, a double crochet. So that means you've got 2 doubles here next to one another, but this double is from the previous repeat and this double is from the next repeat. So a double crochet. Then we're going to skip the next stitch, this one, and in the following stitch work the 3. So that was, in this case, a double, then a half double, and then a single, all in the same stitch. Skipping 2 stitches, come to the third, so 1, 2, skip, come to the third, and work a single, a half double, and a double crochet. Again, skip one stitch, remember to skip this stitch, and then one double crochet. And that was the second repeat. So here, this was the second repeat. Now you're going to do this 10 more times, and then you'll be to the other side and you'll have done 12 of these. I'll just see you when you've got one more repeat left. I'm almost to the end of the edge. I've done this repeat now, well, 11 times already, so I've got one more to do. And I just need to fold my work a little bit here because it's getting a bit larger. So one more repeat. So this is the double crochet from the previous repeat. So that means one double in the next stitch. Then skip one stitch and come to the stitch after and work a double, a half double and a single. Skipping two stitches, come to the third stitch and work a single, and it kind of pinches these stitches together. Single, half double and a double. There should be two stitches left at this point. You're going to skip the next stitch. Skipping the stitch in the very last stitch falls the last double crochet of this repeat. And if this doesn't work out, there's a good chance that you somewhere, for example, have only one double crochet instead of two next to each other. Then you'll have one stitch left here, whereas you should have 0 stitches left. So that's an easy place to make a mistake, or you did not skip this stitch here after or before the double crochet. So those are easy. A mistake will be somewhere around there. The corner, the same corner as we started with, 2 doubles in the chain space, chain 2 and 2 more doubles, 1 and 2, and this corner is the same as the corner we started with. So everything on this edge repeats on your next 3 edges also, or your corners. And when you come to your first stitch here on the chain 3, close on that third chain with a slip stitch. So indeed, so insert your hook there, catching those 2 loops, insert your hook, close with a slip stitch, and then you can also fasten off your yarn. Round 101, I've already done round 101 here. This is a repetition of round 41. It's the first half of the flowers. You see here are these 2 petals, and then in the next round it's again a repetition of a previous round. We're going to be doing the top half of the flowers. So I'll again be putting the recording from round 41 into this video. So it's the same for round 101 as it is for round 41. The only difference is you will have more repeats, more flower petals. You'll have, I believe, 29 in total. So round 101, a repetition of round 41. Round 41, a new color yarn on my hook, and we're going to start in any chain 2 corner space. Start in there with a standing single crochet. I'm just going to move it to the side and then work 2 more single crochets in the same space. So 1 and 2. So now you have 3 single crochets here. We're going to mark the second one of these 3. You're just going to mark it with a stitch marker, and you're going to leave that stitch marker until later on. So for the time being, you're really going to leave this one here. So marking the 3rd stitch, or the second of the 3 stitches. This is the corner. Now we're ready for the edge. I'm going to start the repeat by working a half double in the first stitch. So in the first stitch, a half double, and in the next stitch, a double crochet. We're now going to work a double crochet between the next two stitches, and that means we don't go into the stitch here like we normally would, underneath the little V, but we're going to go between them. So here between the posts, you see where I'm opening that up in there. That's where you're going to be making the double crochet. So yarn over, so really between those two posts. That means the stitch is a bit deeper than before. So you can see the double crochet. You can see how this one is just slightly a bit deeper than the others. So, and now we're going to work a chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to make a split 3 treble bobble. Now it's not as bad as it sounds. Here in this little opening, you see this space here where I'm poking my needle in, my pinky comes through. Through that space we're going to work half of the stitch pattern, and then you're going to come to the other side of these 6 stitches. Here's another natural opening. You're going to pick that one. So in these 2 openings you're going to be working. You're going to work a 3 treble bobble but not complete it. That means twice over. I'm going to start with twice over, of course, for a treble. Then in this natural opening here, insert your hook, draw up a loop, take off 2, take off 2, and stop. That was the first leg of the 3 treble. So again, twice over, in the same space, insert your hook, take off 2, take off 2. Again, stop, and we do it a third time, yarn over twice, take off 2, take off 2, and stop. So now you have 3 of these legs in that natural opening you have there. You're going to come to the other side. So you've got this little dip here of these 6 stitches. Going to come to the other side of that, and there, here are my pinkies again poking through. We're going to repeat the same as this here. So these 3 treble bobble not completed. Going to repeat it here. So again, 2 times yarn over in this natural opening here. Take off 2 loops, take off 2 loops, and stop. Again, twice over. And insert into that same space. Take off 2, take off 2, stop, and a third time, twice over, insert in that same space, take off 2, take off 2, and stop. At this point you have 7 loops on your hook. 3 from this treble, 3 from that treble bobble, and then of course your starting working loop. Now I'm going to yarn over and pull through all of these in one go. And that's easiest that as you're pulling through, that you push your hook upwards so that it really rides on the top, against the top of those loops from the inside. Then you've got the least chance that your hook will snag something along the way. And bring them all nicely together, because then you're also going to get that stitch nice and tight. So yarn over, and as I'm pulling through, I'm just pushing a little bit up. So yarn over and pull through. Now that wasn't so bad, was it? Now chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see this is half of the flower petal. And now we're going to make a double crochet between these 2 doubles. You see these 2 doubles you have here, they're like a pair. Now in between those 2, exactly in the middle, going to work a double. And again, between them, so your stitch really goes a bit deeper. So totally between the 2 posts. If you open it up in there. And complete the double crochet. There you go. Now starting here from the chain 3 right up to this double crochet, going to do this 12 times in total. Now I've just done 1, so you need to do 11 more. I'll show you the repeat once more, and then you're going to repeat that until you're almost to the end. So we do this again. So we start with a chain 3, so 1, 2, 3, and you'll notice this was a chain 5, this is a chain 3, it's not symmetrical. That's correct. Now don't worry about that, it'll be fine. Now here again, in this opening, this natural opening you have there, you're going to work the first half of these 3 treble stitches. So twice over, take off 2 loops, take off 2 loops, twice over again. This is the second leg, going a little faster, twice over, and this is the third leg. Now do it again, twice over, and come to the other side of this little dip here, that into your next natural opening. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Now you again have 7 loops on your hook, yarn over, and take them all off in one go. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see here half the flower petals, and again come between these 2 doubles, that they are like a pair here in the middle. Work a double crochet between the stitches. There we go. Now I've just done this repeat twice. You need to do 10 more, and then you'll be almost to the end. So repeat this 10 more times. So that was a repeat, and this was a repeat. Do it 10 more times, and then I'll see you back for the last few stitches. I'm almost to the end here. Here I've done the last repeat. This is the chain 5. Now I still need to make the double crochet that goes along with the repeat. And you're going to make that between, because here you don't have a pair, but here you have 3 double crochets between the first and the second one. So in between there, work that what I'm going to call a deep double crochet, so between the 2. At this point you have 2 stitches left. The last stitch here, but also this stitch here, that because you've not worked into that stitch, but you've worked between the 2. So this stitch here, this the second last stitch, work a double in it. So, and you're going to have to push the stitch that you just made a bit to the side, that you can really see that stitch. So there's a double crochet, and then the last stitch gets a half double. There you go. And now we're to the corner. In the corner, 3 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And here again we're going to mark the center one of the 3 with a stitch marker, just like we did on the first corner. Also here, mark the stitch and leave the stitch marker for the time being. We'll use it again later. So this is just to find the corner stitch later on. Now this corner is of course exactly the same as the corner we started with. So that means everything you've done with all these repeats, repeat this on your other 3 edges also. And when you get to the first stitch, close with a slip stitch, and then you can also fasten off your yarn. Round 102 is a repetition of round 42, in which we complete these flowers. So I'll be showing you the video footage from round 42 to complete the flowers. After you've made the flowers, we're just going to be placing a few stitch markers, so just also pay attention to that at the end of when you've made the flowers. I'll show you when to place the stitch markers. Round 42, I have the same color yarn on my hook, but we're going to start in a different position, so that's why we cut our yarn. Here's the corner stitch that's marked. If you go forward, this is the last double crochet before the chain space. I'm going to start here with a standing front post single crochet in that stitch. And there we go. We're now going to work a treble bobble in the eye of this flower, if you look closely, you see here's the flower, and that little, there's like, if I just open it, you see there that little hole. You're going to work into that, well, I'm going to call it an eye. And what's also important is we're going to be working in front of the chain 5 space, because naturally when you stick your hook in there, you're going to want to do this, and then you're going to end up with your hook underneath the chain 5 space. You don't want that. You're going to work like this, so the chain 5 is underneath your hook, and then your stitches look more neat. So twice over into that little loop. Like I said, make sure that the chain 5 space is behind your hook. Take off 2 loops twice, yarn over twice again into the same stitch. Again, make sure the chain 5 space is behind your hook. Take off 2, take off 2, and we do that again into the same eye. Take off 2, take off 2, 4 loops on your hook, take them all off. Now, that was the first treble bobble. We're now going to maybe do something weird. I'm going to come to the back here, and you see here exactly to the back there's a chain 3 space. This chain 3, it's a bit to your front, to the front of your work. So you're going to have to fold your work a little bit back. And there in that space, work a single crochet. And that secures this flower petal to the side, that it doesn't flop forward. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now in this eye we're going to make another treble bobble. So twice over, and again be sure to stay in front of the chain 5 space. But it's going to be more natural now because it'll be standing a bit to the back anyway. So that's 1, 2, 3 times, and then take them all off. Chain 5, that's important. So here was a chain 4, now we're doing a chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we do another treble bobble in the same position. So twice over, and it's getting very full in there, so you're going to have to make space for a few more stitches. Again, three legs, and we take them all off. There we go. So now you can see how you filled up this flower. Going to work a front post single crochet around the double that you have here right in the middle. Going to work a front post single around that stitch. There we go. And that completes the repeat. Now this is the first flower, and on the first flower of every edge you should mark the second petal that you just made, and that's the one here at the top. If you look here at the top, you see that opening there? Opening, that's the stitch. So I'm just going to insert a stitch marker in there. So the first one on every edge, we're just going to mark that one. Now this was the repeat. You're going to do this on all of these flowers. I'll show you the repeat once more. I'm going to start, so this is the second repeat I'm doing with you now. So I'm going to start by working a treble bobble in the next eye, and that's going to be there. My hook stuck there, in that eye. So twice over, insert your hook, and again be sure that the chain 5 space is below your hook. It can also help just fold it to the back, then you know that you can't work over it. It's 1, and this is 2, and 3, and then you take them all off. You see I've got my hook stuck in here. And you take them all off. There we go. Now we're going to fold our work and head to the back. So here, there's the chain 3 space. It's a bit to the right of your work if you're right-handed, to the left if you're left-handed. And in there, work a single crochet. And again, that secures this flower petal to the side, that you don't pull it forward. Chain 4, this is important, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's only a chain 4 here because you've already got that single crochet there. That's why you need one chain less. Now in the same eye, work another treble bobble, so twice over. So 1, 2, and 3. Then take them all off. There we go. Chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And another flower petal. So again, a treble bobble. A 3 treble bobble. That's 1, 2, and 3. And take them all off. Now you can see you've completed the second flower petal, and we're going to finish this again by working a front post single crochet here around the double. A front post single around that stitch. There you go. And this was the full second repeat. And this is a slow round and it's a yarn eating round, but continue. And when you've worked all of these, you're going to end up here on your last flower petal. When you've worked the last treble on this last petal, I'll see you back for these last 2 stitches. Now I've just worked the last flower petal on this edge, and now I still need to work the front post single. I'm going to work that around the first double crochet. See here the series of stitches before the corner. Around that first double crochet, work the front post single. And there we go. We're now going to do a chain 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you're going to skip this entire corner. I'm just going to rotate my work. And then come to the last double crochet on the other side, and that's the one before the chain 3 space here, and work a front post single in this stitch. There we go. And this chain space, I'm just going to pop it to the back. And this front post single, which is here in the stitch before the chain space, is exactly the same as the stitch we started with. That means here on the next flower, we're going to complete this flower, and that's the one you should mark again, because this is again the same as here where we started. So that's front post single is the same as that one. So you're going to work this first flower and then mark that stitch here at the top, and then work the second and the third. So you're going to repeat all of that on this edge. Go all the way around, and after you've completed your last front post single, chain 6 and then close on this first stitch with a slip stitch, and you can also fasten off. When you've completed all the flower petals, we need to place a few stitch markers. You're going to place a stitch marker in the first actually it's the second treble bobble. If you look at the flower, the first flower on every edge, this top treble bobble, you just mark that one with a stitch marker. You're going to need this a few rows later on. But this was also part of the repeat from round 42, so you would have also placed that stitch marker. But on top of this, you're going to place 2 extra stitch markers. You're going to place a marker in the first chain 4 space, so that's, if you look here at the first flower on the edge, that's this one. I'm going to place a stitch marker there in that chain space. And if you look at the last flower on the previous edge, this chain 5 space, going to place a stitch marker in that space too. So, and then here's this chain space. Don't worry about this, it will pop this one to the back later on. So you've got, actually per corner you're going to have 3 stitch markers, and these last two that we placed, these two, you're going to leave them until around 112, then you'll need them, so they're going to be there for quite some time. You'll also be adding a few extra stitch markers in the next part too. So on every corner mark these chain spaces and this one stitch, and then you're finished with this part. And that's it. So when you've placed all your stitch markers, you've completed part 11. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you again soon for part 12.